Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bay Area Content Marketing Meetup. My name is Dennis. I'm the organizer of this group. Today, our presenter is Javi Díaz, Global Brand Champion at Acclaro. Javi's going to talk about how community building can be a sustainable way of generating future business. Javi's going to share proven guidelines that he uses to successfully build community around human values and generate new business opportunities. He'll tell you about the community that he manages for Acclaro called LocLife. Javi is based in Prague, but is physically in the Bay Area today. So I told him you don't have to fly to the Bay Area to present to our group, but I think he's just, he's an overachiever. So Javi, take it from here, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. So my name is Javier. As I said, as Dennis gave me this super good introduction, I work for a company called Acclaro, based in the West Coast, but in the East Coast, but with presence worldwide. What we do is in a very competitive industry, which is the localization and translations industry. We provide translation services to big corporations like Netflix, Stripe, Salesforce, Warner Brothers, etc. Right? As I was saying, this is a very competitive market. There's in the world, like I read not so long ago, there are some officially noted around 15 to 20,000 translation agencies that go from a one-man show to a company like ours, which we're 100, and we consider ourselves middle size, to companies that are above $1 billion in revenue and hundreds of people working there, right? So as I told you, when we were doing this introduction, I myself, by background and by formation, I am a lawyer and I have a master's in international business. As I was telling you before, guys, this has served me for nothing. These are all titles that are on my mother's wall, standing at her place in Spain. So, and let me tell you a little bit in a second before I start my presentation, how I came across this industry and how I entered to work for Acclaro, the company that I work for. I tried to be, or I always try to do, I always love international relationships, let's put it that way. And I always try to be an international salesperson. So I got my first job in the translations industry 7 years ago for a small software company in Prague, which is the reason why a Spanish guy from the north of Spain lives in Prague still, but that's a nomadic life. I tried to get a job, and I started doing the classical, let's call it the classical way of doing sales, right? You get a lead, you drive your lead through a whole process, and it was a complex technology sale. It was a complex technology solution that we were selling, which I did, to be honest, and since we're a small group here, I didn't even know how to do a demo of the software, right? So I was able to, through implementing a methodology that I'm going to talk about today, to sell a software product, a very complex software product, without really knowing the software itself, but being there always to help and to help the community that I was creating, providing solutions to that community, right? So, as I said, does anybody have a question? Because I'm hearing somebody, or it's like, oh, the microphone was no, sorry about that. So, I moved away from being, as I said, the classical salesperson to being a community creator, not a community manager, a community creator, which is a completely different concept of the typical idea, classical idea of the community manager, right? So let me start. I'm going to share my screen now, and I'm going to present to you guys a small PowerPoint presentation that I created here, just to, let's start from the beginning. Thank you. These are the things that you have live, right? That I prepared for this presentation today, right? So as I was telling you, in an industry in which we saw that there's so many competitors, we wanted to make a difference in approaching people, in bringing in new opportunities by providing what we will call the prospective clients out there a sense of belonging to a community, right? For that, before I get started with how I build this process, I want to show you my first slide, in which I put down here, I noted down just 5 principles that to me and to community builders should be basic when you talk about community building as a source of revenue, right? So the first of all, I want to read them through you because they're interesting comments on them. Like community builders believe that every individual within the community has a gift. Meaning everyone counts, everyone is included in the community. Everyone must feel identified, right? once you believe in every person there, you must think that building community always involves activating those individuals by lighting them up with nice ideas, with stuff to act. Like acting in the community, being participant in the community is key to the success of this methodology, right? And here is, to me, the one in the middle, the third one is, to me, is the most important, the most interesting. And by the way, stop me anytime if you have questions, please, because I would like to have this chat, to do this presentation as a friends thing, and so that we all can participate, right? Relationships between individuals are the key and the foundation to building a strong community. This means taking into account that everyone has gifts, taking into account that everyone must be motivated to act, taking care of every and each individual in this community by spending time talking to them, helping them, connecting them to others, etc., is the key. Building those strong relationships and foundations, right? I was thinking about some of the mistakes that normally the people that want to do more traditional sales ways are doing, right? And it's definitely the fact of always spreading messages that are copy-pasted, that are technically corporate propaganda, right? And I wrote that there, put it in a different way, saying like, if you're into community building, if you are motivating individuals, if you're building true relationships, please make sure everyone gets nice, exciting information and content. And we can go through that afterwards and talk about this, right? And now, last but not least, there's many more principles. I wanted to talk about the leader, right? The leader of that community. Who is helping that community? Who is orchestrating that community? Who is leading those events that create community, right? And for that, to lead this beautiful community that I'm building called LocLife, based on human experiences, leadership talks, and connecting people, I thought a lot about the role of that community leader that would be.
Wow.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Is it okay? Any questions so far? All right. So
I can hear you. I think it was just someone accidentally made a sound.
All right, cool. I think somebody said wow, so I'm loving that people are already inspired only 5 minutes into the presentation, which is what I wanted to do. I want to hear at the end. I'm going to ask if everyone has put a smile upon their faces, and if that has happened, I think I did a good job today. So, as I was telling you before, to me, the role of that community manager that we have in mind, that is the community leader that I was just speaking about. To me, that is a figure of the past. To me, that job doesn't exist. To me, and to put a successful community sales and community building, community doing business by the community way. I think that that leader, that role of community manager shouldn't be there. So for that, I created a very particular figure that I call a global brand champion. A global brand champion, and I'm going to define it after that. It's not a community manager. It's also a community manager. It's not a company ambassador. It's also a community ambassador. It's the key orchestrator to a successful and thriveful and inspired community, right? So has anyone, I mean, you guys are of course aware of brand ambassadors, etc., right? Can anyone give me an example of previous roles that you've worked with brand ambassadors, etc.? So we might be able to put out some some key characteristics of a brand ambassador. Anyone would like to give an idea? I mean, it would be better if you guys turn on the cameras and just participate.
One actually.
Yeah.
One of my past clients was a photographer, and she was a brand ambassador for one of the camera brands.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, we never really got a clear definition of what that meant.
Yeah.
Other than, she provided content for them.
Okay.
She would create videos. Hey, these are the amazing photographs you can create with this camera.
I did this photograph in Greece last year. So I spent 2 months a year in Greece. So I did that. All the photos you guys can see are mine. So
yeah, I know, it's beautiful. I'd love to go to Greece someday. But it was kind of, it just felt like a weird title for me. Not that she wasn't good
Yeah.
at it. I mean, she's very, outgoing and energetic and positive, but none of what she wasn't really given any instruction that I know of as to what to do, other than, hey, you got to require, you got to provide so many hours or whatever of video content. And it was never like a one-to-one with people. It was all, she's just recording stuff and putting it on their website type of thing.
Yeah. I love that, Elizabeth, that you said that. I mean, I think especially in the environment where we are, Silicon Valley based, like we should get away always from those from the conception of a job has to be 9 to 5. A job has to bring results, right? So, and so that's, I love the point that you said there, right? And about the brand, the normal brand ambassadors. What brand ambassadors do is, is somebody that you will hire for your company, or you would provide free products to your company and would represent your company online, on social media, on events, etc., right? That's the base, and I love it. It's the foundation of what a global brand champion, which is the figure that I created, is, right? But I started analyzing, and I said, like, I want to be different than a regular ambassador. So first of all, I choose a new name. And also, let me point out as well, a global brand, a brand ambassador, a global brand champion, is responsible for bringing in interesting business opportunities for the company as well, right? Not only focusing on the brand, but that's another key point to this figure that I created, right? I talk to the people there, I create community, I help them, I connect them, and I ask them, is there anything I can do for you? As the last question in our conversation to help you grow your business, right? Or to help you do your job better, right? And that's one of the keys, right? But I was thinking of the secret formula, and this is picture, I took it in Salt Lake City a couple of years ago. Like there was in the desert there was a chair, and I found it so cool, a picture in the sunset. So I started thinking like if we're going to create a community leader, a global brand champion, a brand ambassador, the key goal to make this successful is to connect the individuals. And I'm talking about connecting in different ways, bringing them the solutions that your company offers, helping them getting connected to other individuals within the community, so they're inspired and they feel participant in the community. And also, and this is very true, helping them connect with other potential employers for themselves, right? Has this happened to any one of you? Somebody that is a very prospective client that you really, really say, this guy is going to be my next big client. Is you know that you got to him, you build a relationship with him, and he wants to change jobs. Okay, a global brand champion, a brand ambassador within the same industry should be there to connect and to help. Are there any questions, any comments on this that I just said?
I have a comment.
Yeah.
So this meetup is in essence a community, and
yeah,
we used to meet. We obviously don't meet in person anymore. Hopefully we will at some point when it's safe to do so. But back in a few years ago, I was seeing we would get together once a month in person and have a talk like this over pizza. And it's funny that you mentioned finding future employers, because I've seen by way of this meetup group, people find jobs through other members. So it's like, my company's hiring, send me your resume, and like an actual hire was made, which was like, for me to observe that was magical. It was magic.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dennis. This should be one of the key factors of what you're doing as a community leader, as a community connector, as a brand champion, right? Connect, help them others, because the important of a community like the one I'm building, like LocLife, is the human factor. Right? We're building, as I told you before, guys, in an industry that is extremely competitive with up to 25,000, if you want to put it that way, 20,000 possible competitors. You're putting yourself out there by connecting and helping and prioritizing the people, all right? So this is why I pointed out here, a global brand champion, if you want to use a title like that, should connect, right? Care, that's also another picture in Greece. Oh my God, I spent too much time there, guys. But I swear to God, I have so many beautiful Californian sunsets that I'm going to show you afterwards as well. Care, I wrote care here because I believe once you're connecting, once you're setting those connections and putting that community to work, caring about them, is nurturing them, is another of the key points of building a successful community as a source of business revenue for the future, right? again, is anyone has another point to share here on an idea and I'm talking, and I put this caring here, thinking about the following thing as well. I am a social individual. I love, and I've missed being in the States, running around with friends, prospective clients, etc., to connect clients, to create business opportunities, and to build the community that I'm building right now. Okay. But you don't have to be a social person to do this. You just have to be empathetic and really caring about people. And this is why I wrote down caring here, right? As I said, if anyone have a question or wants to add something, I'd love to give you the mic and say something, or I'll proceed to the next slide. All right, I'll proceed to the next slide. Connecting, caring, and definitely inspiring. Like, what is more moving for community members than getting inspiration to buy from you, thanks to having values, having connectivity, and caring about others, right? This, trust me, guys, this works. This inspiring people by producing nice talk, nice content, etc. works, right? And this sunset here is in you probably know it is in California. It's in Mendocino. And here's my favorite part, right? And now marketing has turned definitely into less or do not pitch how good you are, but tell stories, tell good things about others, tell good stories about community members. That's, to me, another key aspect in the creation of a successful community to grow your business, right? How do you do this? And I think I messed with the slides because I wanted to cover content first and then social media. But social media, let me go back to this afterwards, because social media is definitely the channel to do it. But here is what I wanted to talk about. What is the kind of content that we community builders should be creating as a source of content for the community to be involved, right? So let me explain to you what LocLife is. Loc comes from the word localization, because it's the translations and internationalization industry, right? And life is, of course, life, right? So we created in Acclaro a community that we are naming LocLife, right? LocLife is, we've got so many future development plans, especially now that the world is opening up, right? We started doing community talks, like a chat like this. We started promoting on social media, on LinkedIn. We position ourselves in an industry in which we saw that all vendors are talking about processes as a human community, as a place, as a platform for leaders and industry folks to come and discuss not processes, because that would be going to the content that would be doing what everybody's doing. We came to do inspiring leadership talks and human stories, right? LocLife is incredible to come here to California, where, as I told you before, most of our clients are in this area. Most of our interesting accounts are here. And here, LocLife has become an industry standard, an industry panel. Like especially in the time of Zoom fatigue, we had our last community talk last week. We had 130 people registered and 200 people showing online. That's almost a 50% show to come and hear a discussion about the importance of empathetic leadership, right? Of emotional intelligence in leadership. We picked a side of that could be applied in any industry that is not talked in our industry. We saw that niche. We went there. We promoted it very well on social media, and it's bringing our brand. We are creating a second brand that is working out really, really well, bringing us a lot of opportunities, etc. Right? And I wrote, that's the first point. The second point, I wrote that there is like, this is for us, maybe marketeers and content creators, it should be key, right? But when you present these ideas and when you talk to people that are doing sales and they're in the business side, expanding their business, most of the people are sharing content constantly, or the content that their company tells them to share. The other day, and Annika can confirm this, the other day we were checking, we saw a post on LinkedIn that said, oh, my company is the company that uses social media the most. And we started like literally laughing our asses off, saying like, no, your company is the company that shares the most content that somebody produces for you that has no engaging at all. And that was so funny, right? So, well, this second point, I wrote it there more like when you, for people to see, to inspire them to create content, right? For the community, something that is, some values, some interesting things that are, you are repetitive, but with a twist, right? And I wrote here, and this might sound weird in a corporate environment, or maybe in a Silicon Valley corporate environment, right? I keep using words like love, help, being there, and assisting. And I can show you afterwards in some of my LinkedIn posts, right? Which, as I told you before, it's not the number, it's not the millions of numbers of likes and comments, etc. It's the quality, right? Let me now use where this slide should go, social media. I missed it here. And let me see if I can get to the next. Yeah, social media, especially in the time in which we cannot meet, and you guys were saying this before, like Dennis was pointing this out, is key. How you learn to use social media to do this. And I'm talking multi-platform here. I'm talking a professional context that is LinkedIn, which is, in my case, fortunately, the platform where I have more followers. Instagram, Facebook, or whatever. If you're on TikTok, whatever, right? But you have to know how to use those systems, those platforms, which at the end are key to the transfer of to the transfer and the sharing of the information. And at the end, if you go to salespeople, most of them don't still know how to use, or they get stuck in the problem that I pointed out here: quality versus quantity. Like, we are all obsessed. And you're all obsessed, and everybody's obsessed by, oh my God, I had 170 likes. I got 1,000 likes. When that doesn't move clients and that doesn't move people to become members of a community, it's the quality of the audience that counts. And I cannot stress this enough. And we've done a lot of effort in bringing into our community quality people. And let me make a quick stop here. And is everyone following? Is this sounding too crazy? Am I too weird? Like, I want your comments now, guys. So before I continue.
Feel free to unmute. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's one word too that maybe I missed it, but enthusiasm.
Oh yeah.
And that's like, and that kind of goes with love and everything else too. But like, that's what I'm hearing from you is like this nonstop enthusiasm.
Oh yeah.
That I think draws people attention too, because if you're as passionate about this as you are, or at least sound like it, I'm sure it's real, then you're going to attract other people to be at least interested in what you're talking about, but probably also they want to be that enthusiastic about something too. And I love that.
That's so true. That is so true. That is so true, Elizabeth. Anyone has another comment? Thank you for pointing that out, Elizabeth. Anyone has another comment? Because I wanted to show you my LinkedIn profile to tell you in a minute the importance of quantity versus quality. Should I proceed?
Yep, go ahead.
So of course, I mean, every social media profile must must be adapted to the context, right? So this is my LinkedIn profile, right? Everyone, and this is and a lot of people that are doing business or doing sales have a common, not very developed LinkedIn profile. And me, I went bolder. I said, like, I want to bring a different thing, right? So I wrote positive messages here. I started developing a profile here. Like, I do some things that a lot of people would think that, oh my God, this is for a community builder. Or this is more for Instagram, right? We're working a lot on video content that is inspiring, that is, that shows you as a fun, engaging person. So fun is key, and I'm going to point it out later. How having fun moments is key, right? So as I was telling you guys, like, do not expect to come to a developed and what I think is a nice LinkedIn profile and expect 300 likes and 500 comments. Like millions of likes and millions of comments. No. I'm talking about engaging with the proper people. Let me just pull out I don't know, one of these posts that we did like 7 months ago, tagging a few people that have been members of our community and panelists there, and how the community has engaged. Like, think that as a localization services vendor, we sell to localization managers. Those are the people that will buy from us. So let's go quickly here in 10 seconds and see who has titles of global or global localization coordinator or localization manager, right? So check this out. Localization manager, that design, head of internationalization, like head of globalization, localization project managers, vice president of globalization. This is a localization manager. All those people, well, this is a colleague. All these people, look, this is an existing client. All these people, like another existing client, all these people that engage with prospective clients with this, and they're not, as you saw, they're not 5,000. They are the right people that you want to include. Except this is my brother, sorry. These are the people you want to have in your community as members, right? These are the people that you want to always have around, nurture, build those relationships based on those connecting, inspiring, and caring principles that I propose, right? So this is good, right? So this is what I wanted to show you guys. So I mean, and we could go on here and continue seeing, like, you know, prospective clients, another prospective client, and also a friend, right? Like all those things, right? Look, oh, Anamike, who's here. All of those things, right? So I wanted to point out and stress that we need to be cautious and always point out the importance of quality versus quantity of followers. Okay.
Wait,
always,
Javi,
yeah.
If you could go back to that post, because I think this would be valuable for people to understand, because I think we're all trying to do better on LinkedIn. On our
yes. Are you guys seeing?
Can you scroll up a little bit to see the body of the post?
Yeah.
So my question is, can you break down, like, what are some of the attributes of this that led to its success? Because clearly the list of the engagements is amazing. So what was the secret here? So
first of all, okay, it's important to, like, there's a few important things, like, you know, the algorithm of LinkedIn changes constantly and it destroys you constantly, right? So first of all, like let's talk about consistency. Like, if you go to my posts, I always start them by, hey, LinkedIn. And this one, I didn't do it precisely like this. So I'm a slave of my own words. But if you go to, like, I posted this one 3 hours ago and it's got 1,000 views. But if you go to the likes and the comments are from the prospective clients. So let's just open this one, which is the latest, right? I am traveling in California. So I am true to the stories that I tell. I am true to my personality. And I always try to put them like that. I try to tag a couple of people or organizations that you work with, which is always good. A couple of influential people, using some emojis, not charging a lot, using a few hashtags as well, not using 25 hashtags, but a few of them, right? So that's it. And on my end, I really like rock and roll, blues and opera. So I try to finish my post with the word love, or your Javi, or something that is kind, and a quote from a song or from a composition, etc. Right? Like, for example, this was our last community panel, right? Check how it is, right? And these are posts that you would say, oh my God, you would post this thing on Facebook or on Instagram. No way. Should be here, right? And we went through, and all this content just came out of me as it was, right? Like, I try to keep it shorter, so people, like, when you see a LinkedIn post that is like a chapter of the Bible, you don't tend to read it, right? So I try to keep them close. I try to stay away from posting screenshots of Zoom, but this one I had to do it. So, right. And I also have to tell you that our industry is small, right? So this kind of engagement from buyers, again, is pretty interesting as well to see, right? It's all project managers, localization project managers, localization managers, globalization people, you see, like the vendor managers that you want to make business with, colleagues, like another prospective clients, you see. That's how I try to do it. I keep the consistency, like very specific structure, very specific way of putting it, using the word love always, or I care, I connect, etc. Using my quote from a song that I always put there, right? So that's it. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Does anyone have questions for Javi on his use of LinkedIn?
We can, I can just go through and we can just use the, like I won't take more than 5 more minutes, guys.
Okay.
And then we can ask more questions, right? So, and here are some tips that I presented these tips on an online panel, and people were like, wow, really? Can you do it like this? Can you be organic? It's like, yeah, you can be organic, but it takes time. It takes time to build these profiles. It takes time to build these connections. It's not only social media, it's also being there, right? It's also being there, like presentially, right? And we have to do it. We have to do it, right? It's not being transactional. Like we had our corporate meeting yesterday. We are a company that's been in business for 20 years. And we were discussing, our CEO was letting us know how we are turning from being a transactional company to being a company that is working with less clients, but are not transactional, and that grow faster and grow more exponential and more strong for the company's growth, which is in line with the tips that I always give people. Don't create transactional relationships, create true and honest relationships. And guys, I gotta tell you that I'm staying now at a client's home. I'm at my client's place now, sleeping here for 4 days. So that's how not transactional you have to be. And then there's one thing that I am super against, and it's like the complaining. Okay, sorry, spreading positivity and optimism, and do not complaining, as I was pointing there in the other point, right? Like how many times do you find posts that are complaining and people that are just complaining about things instead of being constructive? That helps. That helps in building community and attractive business opportunity. Replying fast to your messages, and always the importance of being funny and putting when you're building community for business. This is going to sound crazy what I'm going to say, but being funny, putting the business conversations second, putting the people first, and creating the human relationship. You can do this in person or online, right? Being yourself, complaining and accepting. And another thing is like, I must sound weird sometimes. I spend the whole day saying thanks to everybody. So, but it works. And in Spain, we have a saying that is, es de bien nacido ser agradecido. You're well born and you've been well educated if you are saying thanks all the time, right? Well, that's it. Thank you. That's it. So if you want to continue talking to me and talking and getting more tips, add me on LinkedIn. I'm going to share with you guys my LinkedIn profile here. Oh, I'm going to stop sharing now. And I'll share it here. I'll put it in the chat. Oh, yeah, there you go. Add me there. Follow me on Instagram. You're going to see me travel all the time. So now I have a question for all of you. Am I too crazy? Is this doable? Or?
You want us really to answer that, Javi? I'm kidding.
Yeah. I'm really crazy.
It's just that you think it's too crazy. I don't know, but.
I'd say well, first of all, thank you, comment. Thank you much for the prezzo. And I'd say to answer your question, you're somewhat maybe at the mercy, or we're all at the mercy of, you mentioned, the LinkedIn algorithm, right? So these platforms upon which we communicate and connect, we're at the mercy of their business models. Are they allowing us to connect in an organic way that suits us or suits them? And maybe that's not mutually exclusive. And it leads to my question. You've been on LinkedIn for a while, right? Have you noticed a change before, how things used to be before the Microsoft acquisition of LinkedIn versus after? Better or worse? Any anecdotes to share on how you've seen LinkedIn change, Javi?
Yeah, so I tell you, I'm a crazy millennial. I was born in 82. So I have been, and I'm a lawyer in Spain, as I told you guys. So the key to being where I am today is being flexible and learning from all the stuff that has happened, right? So I have had to adapt. And on LinkedIn, believe it or not, my LinkedIn has exploded for creating business, like Miki can confirm. It's only the 17th of February. We brought 3 major big opportunities to the table today, with 3 major technology companies that are our target, at least, that came to me and asked me, hey, can you introduce me what your company is doing, right? I don't do the complete sale, but those things has happened this year, right? Because we've all been affected, but I've been able to adapt by being flexible, right? reading a few things, like you don't have to go and read. I'm as I said, like the last complete book I read might have been El Quijote in school, right? So there's a lot of tips out there. There are a lot of tips out there because they used to make us read it at school, not the whole of it. Right? I'm kidding also, but yeah. But those are the things. Like, there are a lot of tips out there, like maybe checking the times that it's better to post, Tuesday, Thursdays. Like now, posts tend to have a less bigger impact as you post them, but they tend to be out there longer, right? And if your first few friends engage with them, then they're even better, right? I am against pods as well. Like I've been offered to be in pods of these, people that like your comments and you like them. That's not organic. 9, never. I don't do this as well, right? So, but I try to be flexible in this regard as well, right? Like learning stuff, no?
Good. Well, thank you. Thanks again.
And Javi, an aspect of Rich's question was any difference, and I don't remember how many years ago Microsoft acquired LinkedIn, but did you notice any difference after Microsoft came in to acquire them?
No, I tell you guys, like I was the kind of person that was adding people. I never used LinkedIn until, I was barely using it until the beginning of the pandemic. And I had a year ago, we published, there was in our industry, there was I hate to call myself an influencer. I hate to call myself, I don't influence nothing. I don't influence nobody, nothing. And thank God I don't influence nobody, right? But I connect, right? I'm a connector. And there was a list published with influencers from the localization industry, which I work with. I had 3,500 followers. And last year I had almost 7,000 in a year. So I didn't have those many connections before the pandemic, right? I started working on it now big time. So anyone can do it. If they tell you they can't, that's not true. Anyone can do it.
That's impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Speaking of the pandemic, there's a lot of commentary about how many years, it's like 2.5 years that we're going on with the pandemic. And for the most part, those of us that are fortunate enough to be able to work remotely, but there's the concept of detachment, like we don't see our family, we don't see our friends, we're lonely. Do you see LocLife as a way to help people come together, specifically as it relates to the pandemic?
And you're asking a guy that was the most social person you've ever seen, right, that has started therapy because of this. I never went to therapy, started going to therapy a couple of months ago, precisely because of this, because of the lack of these human connections and ingenuity and being out there that you were having through going to events. And whoever tells you that's not true, that counts. And I started doing it not so long ago about this, right? So yeah, like this still needs to be done. All of these, all of the human connections are needed. They're needed. That's why I came to California now, just to be around. I've been in meetings, like I have a meeting at 3:00 and I had a meeting at 10:00. All my meetings have been walking, talking, having fun, etc. People that I'm trying to connect with us as a company for introduction afterwards, which is done by within my community by our sales team, and to have them come and talk in the platform. And I met just now a person that was in the last panel we did, just came in and asked a question. She's like, man, I've never been exposed to being in front of 200 people. And I felt so comfortable asking these questions to the leaders you put out there. So if somebody tells you this, then you think that this person, when you ask them, do you need to buy, and then at least going to give you the opportunity to see what you do? I think so. And it's been like this. So.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Other questions, feel free to unmute yourself or use the chat to ask Javi a question or leave a comment. Nothing from you, Todd?
No, I was just going to say that, yeah, Javi, maybe you are a little bit crazy.
I'm super crazy.
Yeah. You're asking, yeah, maybe a little bit. Your Latin exuberance definitely comes through.
And I'm from the north of Spain. I'm a Celt. I'm not a Latino. I'm a Celt.
Oh, okay, my mistake.
No, the north behind the mountains there. Yeah, I started in Oviedo, but I fly. If you want to go home, you got to pass by Madrid, and I have a ton of friends in Madrid. My brother lives in Madrid. My nephew lives in Madrid, so I got to spend time in Madrid, yeah.
not a bad
What's your
place
secret?
to spend time.
Yeah. Tell me, Todd, what you were going to ask something? Tell us.
What did I work on? What do I
Oh,
work
no,
on?
you wanted to ask, or you were going to comment, or
Oh,
please feel free.
no. I was just confirming that, yeah, you are a little crazy.
Oh, yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way, yeah.
So Javi, where do you find your energy and passion? Because I think many of us need more of that.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Then I have to ask you guys, are you guys doing what you like to do in life?
That's a good question.
Yeah, then that's
I mean,
the
I
answer.
do. I like what I'm doing.
I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing.
I also have a habit of drinking a lot of really good coffee.
There you go. Product placement.
That's so true. But I think that we should start by asking ourselves, are we doing what we like to do? And if you like what you do, if you're doing what you like to do, then the opportunities come, the passion comes, and the money comes, right? And that's how it is.
Yeah, I just
oh, go ahead.
tweeted, the other day, somebody tweeted a quote from somebody, I'm not sure who it was, and it's like, if you enjoy what you're doing, you're enjoying your life, or so. I forget what they tweeted, but I responded, and if you're not enjoying your life, you're probably not spending your time right.
Yeah, I was, as I told, like, I am a geriatric millennial. I'm 39. I'm going to be 40 this year. And
old guy.
Yeah, you see, and I look young because I exercise and I am around and stuff. And I was being a tour guide. I was tour guide. I was, with all my masters and freaking stuff, I was tour guide in Munich between 2013 and 15 until I went back to corporate business. And my LinkedIn profile wasn't good 5 years ago. So, it required a lot of work, a lot of passion, dedication, and jumping in the right place at the right time and creating opportunities, which is what I always talk about, right? And not only business opportunities come out of creating opportunities for comfort and for wealth, right? So that's what I've been trying to do, and I'll keep doing. It also helps that I'm single, I don't have kids, and I can travel, right? That also helps. But my mentor, who is 60 years old, has kids, and is always telling me, like, you have to have a girlfriend and have kids, whatever, and you can still travel. It's like, I don't know, I'm scared, but it works.
I have a question for you, Javi. So many of us here, we plan events like this, online events for our companies or for our clients. And I noticed on LocLife, you've got the featured panel, right? And then what you did was you brought past panelists in as guests to present the question to the current panel. That I thought was really creative. How did you come up with the idea, and how well does that work?
Okay, so this goes along also to like in any industry, I'm guessing there's like top tier managers that you always want to hear talk, right? And also other managers that want to learn from them, and you have to be there and say, like, hey, you have to understand the community, you have to understand who is there, and you have to understand who could be your client out of those, and who would be comfortable and thankful. And at the end, I don't want to say it like this, but owing you a favor for being a part of your community and coming and ask a question to those leaders that you always want to hear, right? So I came up with this idea in a panel that I had no idea of how to write the script, because I prepared the scripts for them, and I had no idea, because it was it was a panel about the leadership from the LGBTQ plus community in our industry, which is very big. And I'm not gay, so I didn't know what to ask. And I said, why don't we do this way? Let's bring in friends who are on that side, that are members of that group, and have them ask. And then when I orchestrated everything, it's like, this looked amazing. Let's do it in other kind of panels, right? And that's how it goes. The rest is history. And people contact me to be in LocLife, which is what we want at the end.
Did you have a comment, Elizabeth?
Well, sort of. It was kind of going back to what you're talking about before about loving what you do. And I'm curious to see, like, the next couple of years as people, either want to stay working remotely. I know there's a lot of talk about, the great exodus from the Bay Area, but people have been talking about that for my whole life, I think. But I moved about 4 years ago. I didn't really move that far, but I moved from, the flatlands of the Central Valley back up to the mountains where I was from. And I can't tell you, it made a huge difference in my life. I mean, I'm same company, I'm doing everything the same, but living back up here for a number of reasons. One, I'm away from the almonds. Why I moved to the almond capital of the world, I don't know, when I'm allergic to almonds. But, there's fresh air, there's very little smog other than when California's burning up. But, then I get a lot of smoke. But, and I'm out in the middle of the boonies. There's deer, there's turkey, there's all kinds of animals outside my window right now. And it's just so peaceful. And it's dark at night. I don't have street lights and, lit up billboards, nothing against the Bay Area, but I couldn't live there. Whenever I go to visit my aunt in Daly City, I can't sleep because she's in her guest bedroom and her window faces that giant billboard on 280. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but there's this giant flashing billboard right off of 280, and it's so obnoxious. And it's, you might as well just have, someone flashing a strobe light in your face when you're trying to sleep. But anyway, long story short, I'm just curious how many people are going to move and still want to stay working remotely.
You're telling me that I crossed half of the world to be here. I bet jet lag, and I have a car that I rent to be around everybody, and there's no meetups. And I keep coming because of the meetups. I believe, once again, and this is what I think, and I'm crazy, you guys said it, but it's a matter of life attitude. The key of building communities to succeed as a source of income for the companies that you consult or you work with, it's always a matter of life attitude. If you're gonna do it, do it. And then always go back. I have my holiday place, which is Prague, and I was sick and tired of being in Prague. Where I live, right? So I wanted to come here because I am passionate about coming to meet people and doing these things. So the life attitude, which is going to make you succeed in creating a good community or helping your client create a good community, is needed, and it's got to be there, right? So, and this is at any age, At any age, when you're 20 or when you're 70, I don't care, right? Yeah. And that's why we need that. We need that.
Yeah. Well, it's nice too that you can, especially through technology like this and Zoom and everywhere else, that you can still connect with people without having to physically be there. I still miss physical meetings, being in person with people, but it's nice that there's other tools so you can connect with people all over the world without having to spend a ton of money on travel too.
Yeah. But the human connection is always going to be there. It's always the conference and the event, they're going to come back, and they're coming back now. Now they're there. So be ready as well. And when you show up to those and you present projects that you've been doing during the pandemic and that you've been growing, extra, more wealth, more comfort, more money, anything.
Well, I definitely noticed the difference between companies that were able to do online conferences well and still keep that personal thing. It's I went through one, it was in September, I guess, and they did all these breakout rooms, and they did them so well. I've never been to a conference that was done that well with the breakout rooms online, and you got to meet almost as many people as you would get to meet in person. And it's not the same, but they found a way to get as much personal in there as possible while online.
Yeah. I think that the mixed model is gonna stay. Period. Yeah. It's gonna stay. And the digital nomads like me, it's planned that in 10 years we're gonna be 1 billion in the world. People that choose a country to pay their taxes in, they have a house there or whatever, and they're around all the time. There's more. Once again, family and all these personal conditions always affect, right? But you have to adapt to what you can do and what you can give always, right? And flexibility, as I said before, is key.
Yeah.
And on that note, I think we're out of time. Javi, thanks for joining us. Your passion is contagious, and enjoy your visit, your time in the Bay Area.
Thanks. And guys, if you need anything, please talk to me on LinkedIn. If you want me to help you with some clients or talk to them or whatever, always happy to help if I can. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks for joining everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Javi.
Bye. Bye, guys.